Welcome and thank you for joining us for another edition of the Youth Intervention Journal. The Youth Intervention Journal is a collaboration between North Metro TV and the Minnesota YIPA, or Youth Intervention Programs Association. And we're joined, as we always are at the beginning of these shows, by Paul Manier, the Director of Services for YIPA, to talk to us about something interesting in the area of youth intervention. And this time we're going to talk about how youth intervention really is a benefit to the community in so many ways, but it really brings a big return on the investment that a community puts into it. Talk to us a little bit about the return on investment that communities get from youth intervention.
Be glad to, Ben. It's great to be back here. I think that people, when they talk about youth intervention, the people that do the work know intuitively what they're doing is making a difference, and they see the value. And people who fund youth intervention programs, philanthropists, and different elected officials who support it, intuitively have always known that working with youth when they're at risk of going down the wrong path is a good payoff. But there was never really a study that showed what was the social return on investment. So getting past like the moral obligation or feeling good about working with youth, back in 2007, the Youth Intervention Program Association commissioned a study, the first ever in the country, about the social return on investment on youth intervention programs, and the results were pretty astounding.
Take us through some of the just kind of broad results. I mean, was it found out that this is good business for the community to be in?
It's great business. Matter of fact, if the state was to invest money in a youth intervention program, which they do. Sometimes it's confusing for people to understand the difference between YIPA and YIP. The Youth Intervention Programs Association is a group of organizations throughout the state that all work with youth. The YIP, Youth Intervention Program, is a grant through the state of Minnesota. About half of the YIPA member organizations receive that. Matter of fact, it's less than half now. So if the state was to grant money to these organizations to do youth intervention programming, they found the return on investment is about $4, well, it is $4.89 for every dollar invested. And you think about, how does that work? Well, if you consider all the costs that go into youth that are not becoming self-sufficient, that are going to be a burden to society versus an asset to society, and you talk about truancy, you talk about problems with school, you talk about the work potential that they have, you talk about the health care needs that they might have, the social services that they might need if they're not going down the right path in life. And you add all them up together, and it's an astounding almost $5 return for every dollar invested. But the other thing that I think people need to know, Ben, and this is a fact that is so critical, in order for an organization to get youth intervention program grant money from the state, they have to leverage $2 in their local community for every $1 they get for their state. So these programs have to be viable in their own community. They have to go out into their business community, to their philanthropists that are in their area, and raise a good amount of money for themselves to show that the community wants this program there. If they can do that, then they're eligible for the state money. So I think it's a great way to utilize state dollars, because you're just not throwing money away. Communities want this, they see the value, and it goes to it. So if you consider that there's a 2 for $1 match for every dollar that the state puts in, it leverages $2. The return on investment is almost $15 for every dollar invested. So there clearly is a need for more youth intervention programming in the state of Minnesota, and there clearly is a need for more youth intervention program grant money, so more grantee organizations throughout the state can take advantage of this, because the payoff is there.
And we talked about on a previous show about the juvenile justice system and how much that can cost, and juvenile correctional facility and how much that can cost. And I mean, the difference between what a youth intervention program can do with $2,000 would cost over $40,000 in a correctional facility. And I mean, that's some of those where those return on investments come, like you said, is if youth intervention can do their work, hopefully that work at the juvenile correction facility wouldn't be needed.
That's right, and there is a trend throughout the country, Ben. People are starting to realize these community-based programs, not only do they save money because they're more efficient, they work at the local level with local people, there's a buy-in at the local level, It's not some sort of bureaucratic organization that just kind of processes kids. These are people that build relationships with kids. They really work and they save money. And the efficacy rate, if you lock kids up, incarcerate them, about 75% of them will reoffend within a couple of years. So, and the offense rate for youth intervention programs is really low. About 60 or 70 or 80% of the kids, depending on which program, don't reoffend. So not only does it save money, it works. So that again adds into the savings that you get. So there is a real push, I think, nationwide to move towards these more locally based youth intervention programs. And we've been doing this for 30 years. We've been telling people for 30 years, this is the way to go. We've seen good results. We need to swing public opinion to understand this is not only morally the right way to go, financially it makes sense. We can't turn a blind eye to our youth that are having trouble. We've got a good investment and a good outcome-based strategy, and youth intervention is that answer.
And I know swinging public opinion is part of it, but another part of YIPA's mission is swinging legislative opinion. And are you seeing this, do these dollars speak at the Capitol? I guess, does this return on investment, are you seeing politicians and leaders in that area understand and agree with you in this area?
We work very hard at that, Ben. We spend a lot of time at the state capitol making sure that legislators, Minnesota state legislators, understand that. Sad to say, over the last few years, we've gone the wrong direction. With the budget cuts and the financial crisis we're in right now, we have reduced the number of organizations throughout the state that get this YIP money. We're trying very hard to reduce that trend because it's foolish. It's penny wise, pound foolish kind of approach. So we are working hard, and hopefully we can convince legislators that this is the way to go, because it seems to me like legislators would like this. It's community-based. It's their own people, their own constituents doing the work. And it's not only does it work, it saves a lot of money. So it's a wise investment, not just money down the road for taking a youth that potentially could go in a correctional route versus somebody who's taxpayer and self-employed or a good employee that's got stable employment throughout their life. The divergence of those two paths are huge. So the money saved long-term, but also short-term cost of less school problems, less police calls, less chemical health issues, less truancy, less sexual activity. All those kinds of things save money in the short run and the long run. And so we have to do a good job of making sure legislators know that. So.
Well, very interesting learning about the return on investment that youth intervention programs can provide to the community. And as we like to do in each program, we'll be talking with one of those organizations in the community that deals with youth intervention and has youth intervention programs. We'll be speaking with members representing the YMCA. So that's coming up next here on the Youth Intervention Journal.
Come to Ham Lake and see how good life can be. Conveniently located only 20 miles north of the Twin Cities on Highway 65, yet Ham Lake has kept its rural charm. Residents of Ham Lake enjoy 1-acre minimum lots, giving you space to live with abundant natural green spaces and recreational activities like boating, fishing, golf, disc golf, camping and playgrounds, and tons of seasonal fun all year round. Ham Lake is home to one of the top school districts with consistent high scores in standardized testing and community ratings. Ham Lake is a business-friendly city and willing to work with businesses and developers of all sizes. Whether you are just starting out or looking to grow, Ham Lake has the business opportunities you've been waiting for. Life in Ham Lake moves a little slower, and that's the way we like it. Ham Lake offers space to live, to grow, and space to relax. Come visit Ham Lake and see for yourself what you are missing. Ham Lake is convenient country living.
My name is Fran Sorensen. I am an artist. I am an educator, and I have been educating students for 25 years. I am also a collector. I collect salt and pepper shakers. I collect postcards. I collect rocks. And I write on the bottom of all my rocks telling where they're from and who they're from. I love square dancing. I make my own TV shows free at North Metro TV, and I love it.
Get started by signing up for free TV production classes at 763-231-2803 or eric@northmetrotv.com.
much, too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a
One
dad
more time.
today.
All those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Join Ben Hale and Danica Peterson every Friday on North Metro TV News.
Welcome back to the Youth Intervention Journal here on North Metro TV. Now we're glad to be joined by Josh Peterson, who is the Community Program Director working in youth intervention with the YMCA. And Josh, thanks for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's just kind of start by telling us the work that the Y is doing in youth intervention and some of the partnerships that you're developing in this area.
Sure, yeah, I think it's a really important point because a lot of people, when they think of the Y, they think of the traditional gym and swim, and they don't realize that the Y is in the youth intervention business. But we've been in that for, dating back to the 60s, the Y was doing detached work in Hennepin County, working with youth out on the streets. And then our particular Y started about 20 years ago with a program called Point Northwest, which is a program working with youth who were homeless or at risk of homelessness. And then since then, we've grown, we've gotten into working with youth who are engaged in the juvenile justice system as well. So we have a youth intervention services department, which is about 40 full-time staff now. We have 8 or 9 program areas working with youth from all facets. We have youth, again, who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. We have youth who are engaged in the juvenile justice system. We have youth who are exiting foster care systems. We are working with youth who have issues with truancy. So we're serving all sorts of different youth, and we are partnering with a ton of different agencies, government entities. So we partner with counties in Anoka County, Hennepin County. We have some federal partnerships, so we receive money from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. We also have some partnerships with the Brooklyn Park Police Department, the Brooklyn Center Police Department, the Brooklyn Park Parks and Recs Department. So we're really all over Anoka County and Hennepin County. We're also expanding some services into Ramsey County now, doing some street-based outreach there with youth who are homeless. So partnering with agencies all over the metro.
If you could just kind of pick out a few of the key programs or strategies that you offer to youth and that you try and implement with youth, if you can kind of expand on a couple of them for us.
Sure, yeah. More broadly speaking, like I said, we have programs that serve all sorts of different youth, but fundamentally what we're really trying to do is build one-to-one intentional relationships with youth to try to help them overcome barriers. So most of the youth that we're working with have some sort of barriers that are standing in the way of their success, their self-sufficiency, their independence. And what we're trying to do is to work with those youth to help them set their own goal plans in order to overcome those barriers. So we're really focused on an assets-based approach. So we're trying to develop assets within these youth that already exist to help them overcome issues with school attendance or with employment or with connections to resources. So a couple of the program areas that I wanted to highlight, one in particular is one of our newer areas, which is our partnership in Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. So traditionally we've worked with youth who are already perhaps in the system, so they're on juvenile probation. This is an attempt to get to some youth who are not yet there, who maybe are engaging with some peer groups that maybe aren't as positive, or they've been identified for whatever reason that they have a lot of potential and a lot of assets, which we want to work on developing. So we have a particular staff who we'll hear from later who's working with a lot of these youth to really focus on those assets, to again say, you've got a ton of potential. What can we do to help you find a job? What can we do to help you get connected to your school or give back to your community? In addition, some things that we've done, we last year for the second year in a row did our North Suburban Youth Connect Resource Fair, which was a collaboration between our staff and a number of community partners. And we convened over 40 service agencies in the northwest suburbs and had 200 youth come to a resource fair where there was information about employment, about housing. We had free haircuts for youth. We had free food for youth. We had clothing. So it was really a great way to get the community together behind the youth that we're serving.
Talk about some of the rewards of this type of work, but also some of the struggles that you experience in this type of work that you're doing.
Sure. I mean, the struggles, I think the biggest one is that a lot of the youth we're working with are facing a lot of difficulties, whether it's, their home life is unstable, so maybe there's issues with their parents, maybe there's issues with substance abuse, maybe they're facing barriers to employment. So seeing those obstacles is difficult for all of our staff. But the rewards then come with helping those youth get past those obstacles and set goals. And I think the biggest rewards we get is empowering those youth to do those things themselves. So we're not interested in doing the work for the youth we're working with. We're not interested in saying, you as a youth have this sort of detriment, or you have this issue, we're going to guide you through that. It's rather, you have this strength, this asset. How can you use that to take an opportunity and run with it?
Through your time working in this area, and really through the Y's time working in this area, what are things you've learned about youth and working with youth to maybe refine your tactics and your strategies? What are things that maybe your eyes have been open to in this process?
Sure. I think one of the biggest ones is just the resiliency. I mean, these youth, a lot of the youth we work with are facing issues that, I never dreamed of having to face as a youth myself. And every day they show up with a smile on their face. They want to work with you. They want to build a relationship. So it's that attitude of just wanting to get past things and improve. I think another one is that they're smart and they're fun. I mean, every day, I ask staff why they like doing their jobs, and they say, I get to spend time hanging out with these great youth all the time. And then I think also just their drive and their ambition. We have a program working with youth who are on sort of higher level probation in Hennepin County. And these are older youth. And I think our last half year, we had over 50% of those youth who were engaged in post-secondary educational opportunities, which for youth who are 18 to 21, who are predominantly African American, who are engaged in the juvenile justice system, that's a huge number, I think, for those youth. So they're motivated, they're ambitious, they have goals, and that's amazing to see.
How can people in the community come alongside you? How can people help you? Are there resources you need, or time, or what can people do to help the Y out?
Sure. I think one of the biggest things is just raising awareness about the Y is doing. So having people know, like I said, that the Y is more than just a gym and swim, and it's about youth intervention. I think I mentioned our North Suburban Youth Connect Resource Fair. We're looking to expand that in various communities. So when that arises, we're always looking for donations for food, for items for youth, for services, things like that. So I think just raising that awareness and being aware.
Okay. Well, Josh, thanks very much for coming in, kind of sharing with us about the work that the Y is doing, and the more than just the place for people to go and, like you said, go to the gym or maybe go for a swim. You are doing a lot more work in the community and for the community. So thanks for coming in and sharing that story with us today.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we will continue our conversation about the work the Y is doing and introduce you to a few of the youth that they are working with in the community. Stay with us on the Youth Intervention Journal.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends, friends to go out with on a Saturday night, friends to hang out with and do nothing, friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
I'm lucky. Let me help you with that. I get to do something I love. It has nothing to do with touchdowns or titles. Everybody bring it in. I get to play a part in the life of someone just starting out. How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork? I help keep kids in school. Good. And that's the name of the game. My name is LaDainian Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
April 21st, 2007, we started to conduct a search of a suspicious vehicle, and that's when the sniper engaged us. A chunk of metal ricocheted in my upper right thigh and severed my femoral artery. I died for 15 minutes, but I'm fine emotionally. I had no PTSD because at Walter Reed, I had clinical psychologists walking into my room every 4 hours to get me to talk about what happened. It was preventative medicine. The earlier and more often you talk about a traumatic experience, the faster you will recover from it.
Okay, this time I'm gonna do it. I'm going to actually go to school.
Tell me about some of the stuff you've had to deal with.
I just dropped out completely. I just got caught up in it, the whole scene with the alcohol and the drugs. I was arrested. A lot of my friends, they were really concerned, especially my friend Aaron. You just have to find someone. They don't have to tell you advice, they don't have to do that, they just listen.
Give your friends the boost they need to graduate. Join us at boostup.org.
Welcome back to the Youth Intervention Journal, and we're going to continue our discussion about the work that the YMCA is doing in the community and the youth intervention programs that they have put into place. And we're going to start by talking to Akeisha Everett, who is a youth support specialist with the YMCA. And Akeisha, just kind of tell us a little bit about the work that you are doing with youth in the community, and kind of what you're experiencing every day when you go to work.
Well, the YMCA has started a youth violence prevention program, collaborative with the Brooklyn Center Police, Brooklyn Park Police, Zanewood, and YMCA, and we are doing a couple different facets with that violence prevention program. One portion is just doing case management, talking with youth that have been referred through the Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center Police Departments. The next component is the NIPM program, which is the National Youth Using Mini Bikes program. So we go up to Monticello, Camp Manitou, and we do riding with the Honda bikes. And then the next portion of that is me going into Zanewood and into the schools teaching and facilitating a curriculum called Build. And that kind of teaches youth pro-social skills, helping them fight off the lures of gangs, helping them to really set some life plans in goals in order so they can be productive citizens.
Wonderful. And we do have a couple of youth that have used these programs and have that you've worked with, Akeisha. And Rizae, I want to start with you and just kind of tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to be in these programs with the YMCA, and then what you've learned in your time working with the YMCA.
Well, I started off about last summer,
Okay.
just kind of wilding out and just being crazy. I mean, before I wasn't doing all that. Then I just started wilding out last summer, and getting in all kinds of trouble, running with the wrong crew and things. So my mom started trying to look into other things for me to do. She was trying to put me in boarding schools and things like that. I got kicked out of this recreation center called Zanewood at least 4 times with them that summer. I had to do community service hours and things like that. I ended up on probation, which was unsupervised before. I'm recently on supervised probation. I was referred by a cop named Sam, and she referred to the mini bike program, which was with her, and then she got me. I ended up being on her caseload as a community specialist, or she's my community specialist. So that's how I got into the youth employment program. So, yeah.
And what have you learned in your time working with Akeisha? What are things that you're starting to learn from this program?
Well, I've learned to find more productive things to do with my day and my time, to stay out of trouble, find more positive things to do, and my attitude has changed a lot. Lately I've been laughing at everything instead of getting mad, and now it's I have an uncontrollable smile.
Great to hear. And bringing our other youth, Salute, tell us same thing, tell us your story, and tell us about how you got involved here with the programs at the YMCA.
Yeah. First, Akeisha, she came to my school, that's how I know her. Because, I was having troubles at home with my dad, and, I got kicked out. And I went to court, and, the case didn't take it serious, so they dropped the case, the charges. And, I was still having trouble with my dad. And, so, yeah, the police would just come into my house, almost every day and stuff. And, that's how she came to my school, and, I started talking to her, and she started, really helping me and stuff. And, yeah.
Great. And Akeisha, kind of tell us, it sounds a lot of it is relationship building. A lot of what you
Absolutely.
do is relationship building. Tell us how important that is.
It's really, really important, especially when you are doing a collaboration with police departments. A lot of our community is, you know, has a lot of distrust for law enforcement and that kind of thing. So building that separate relationship, separate from the police departments, having that trust with the youth makes all the difference.
Great. And Salute, tell us about how are things getting better now since you've been able to work with Akeisha and work with the YMCA? How are things in your life getting better?
I'm really like talking a lot. I used to not talk a lot, but like now I'm like talking to my dad. I'm trying to like make it work, make a relationship work between me and my dad. So yeah.
Great. And Rizae, if you didn't get put into this program and didn't be able to start working with Akeisha, where do you think you would be now without the YMCA and without these programs?
Honestly, I think I would probably be locked up by now. Like, cause I was doing so many stupid things and like getting into trouble, running with gangbangers and all that. So like, I probably think I would have been in some kind of trouble, like deep trouble, or not even just that. Anything could have happened, you know. I don't think I would have been going down the right road. I probably wouldn't be getting a job or any of that. I'd probably still running the streets and either in jail, most likely.
And Akeisha, when you have youth that come to you from these really tough circumstances that they've been in, how are you able to kind of mold? I mean, we can see here with these two youth perfect examples of how their outlook and their attitudes have changed. What does it take to be able to kind of change their focus from running the streets, from arguing and having tough times with parents, to having a productive and happy outlook on what's in front of them?
Well, I think, first of all, these two are very, very resilient young people. But coming in as an adult and just expressing your caring nature and being consistent, being a consistent person. You can always, catch me as Zane would, just being where you say you're going to be, relationship building, and showing youth that you care, you genuinely care about their situation. You're not a superhero, you can't fix everything, but you can give them resources so that they can get help with their situations.
Well, I wish we had more time to talk, but unfortunately we don't. But I do want to thank you, all of you, for coming in and sharing with us a little bit about your stories. And Akeisha, thank you for sharing with us about the work that you are doing. So thank you all.
You're welcome.
And we want to thank you all for watching this episode of the Youth Intervention Journal. Remember, you can always learn more about this program or any of the other programs here on North Metro TV by visiting our website. It's just simply northmetrotv.com. I've been your host, Ben Hale, and for all my guests today, we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.